you're talking about investing in real estate as a
Yeah.
solution, that rather than putting into a policy that you may or
Mhm.
may not need, how are we building assets that aren't just for a one scenario sort of use, but that
Yeah.
we can use them for years, and we can use them in different ways. We can pull equity out.
Yep. There's all sorts of things that you're building benefits and wealth simultaneously, which is one of our main things we try to do and provide happiness for our client. Not just something you're stuffing money in forever, hoping that you'll use it. And if you don't, it goes away. So
Yeah.
real estate's a good thing. Rent houses, they've always been good. They're up and down, but I mean, as far as setting up for income later over a 20-year period of time, that's wonderful.
What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
Welcome back to Vivatude. This is Kate Phillips, and I'm here with my special guest, Scott McRae of the McRae Agency. And right now, I'm going to grill him on some of the solutions for folks who are looking for long-term care solutions. Usually around age 50, it used to be that people would perhaps buy a long-term care policy that would ensure that, in their older years, if they needed to have a higher level of help and support, maybe go into some kind of a home, that they would have the money to do so. Scott, what have you seen happen with those policies over the years? And then I want to get your take on how do we solve this problem? Because my understanding is that the
Yeah.
policies aren't what they used to be.
They are healthcare. I mean, let's face it, that's healthcare. So back in the 90s, 91, 92, you could buy a family medical policy with no deductible for your prescriptions, everything else for like a couple $100 a month. Now that's
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Same thing with long-term care. Back then, John Hancock, Prudential, GE, some of the other ones had great policies that would have a lifetime guarantee that you could buy. So they would pay for the life of the person. Then you could buy a 3-year, a 5-year. So you had a lot of benefits you could choose from. And they would cover everything. In-home, you had an in-home option or just a long-term care option at the home, which was cheaper. But you could also have an in-home, like Prudential had one that would pay cash that you could pay your cousin to come take care of you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, as time went by, when insurance companies lose money, they're going to change their products. And those contracts expire. The new ones aren't going to be as good. Now, if you can find one of those, take a look at it for sure. I just haven't seen one in a long time. But that being said, there's other solutions. Like
Yes.
with
Tell us
my
about
clients,
those.
building memories is a big deal with my clients. They're thinking, how can we have an asset that's going to grow for us, and we can still use that asset while we're here and we can enjoy that. So I've got some clients that are buying lake houses, and them and the kids and the grandparents are going down there, living the weekends, having a good time. And that house is expanding in value over that 10 or 20 years. So now your money has doubled probably. You know how the real estate market has been lately, depending on where it is. But you can also rent that thing out. There's all sorts of things you can do for income. So you're building memories for your family, and you're setting that up for if you need it for long-term care, you can liquidate it later or keep
Okay.
using it. So
So you're talking about investing in real estate as a
yeah.
solution, that rather than putting into a policy that you may or
Mhm.
may not need, how are we building assets that aren't just for a one scenario sort of use, but that
Yeah.
we can use them for years, and we can use them in different ways. We can pull equity out.
Yep. There's all sorts of things that you're building benefits and wealth simultaneously, which is one of our main things we try to do and provide happiness for our client. Not just something you're stuffing money in forever, hoping that you'll use it. And if you don't, it goes away. So
Yeah.
real estate's a good thing. Rent houses, they've always been good. They're up and down, but I mean, as far as setting up for income later over a 20-year period of time, that's wonderful. There's also life insurance policies.
Mhm.
These life insurance policies have riders that are free to you that will help you with chronic illness, specified illness, things like that, terminal illness that come along
I,
free for it.
A lot of people don't know this. They are blown away when I tell them that you can get a permanent life insurance policy, a certain kind of whole life insurance policy, where if you get a terminal illness diagnosis, or if you've got some, chronic illness
Mhm.
issues going on in your life where you need some kind of constant help and support, that you can actually pull sometimes the majority of your death benefit out of the policy and
Mhm.
use it for your own care while you are still alive.
Absolutely. And of course, these insurance companies are coming up with more solutions all the time to meet what is demanded by the public. So I've got one company that really has a great life policy, and it's a mutual company. It's owned by the policyholders, but they actually have a real long-term care benefit in that policy, not just
Mm,
riders. And it's free
okay.
to you as well. So there's a lot of different things that come up. That's why we search the market for what your particular needs. But that's huge in that. And if somebody died, well, we're all going to die. But when they die, they still have the death benefit. So if they live, they're making about 4.5%. If they die, the death benefit's tax free to the family. If they need long-term care, that's provided for them too. So
So they're purchasing an asset that they can use either way, whether they're leaving it for a legacy, whether they're using that money themselves,
yeah,
that it's not going to go to waste like sometimes an insurance policy is. And if they're going to die, yeah, my understanding is that
yeah,
that's more of a when thing than an
yeah,
if
it is
thing,
for
but
sure.
we never know when the when thing is
Yeah,
going to
and it just takes
happen.
planning, and the earlier the better, obviously. And
Yeah.
then of course there's annuities. There's all sorts of annuities. We
And
like to
talk to me
guarantee.
about the benefits you can get there that are helpful in the scenario of needing long-term care.
Yeah, and annuities are just a little safer than most things. I mean, it's a contract
Sure.
between you and a 200-year-old life insurance company, and there's tons of them out there, and they go up and down in offers. They're going to offer certain things at certain times. But the main thing is if you can average 6 to 8% in that annuity with no chance of loss. In other words, if the
Mm,
market goes down, it doesn't hurt you at all. You're still gonna
mm.
you're still gonna maintain your principal, and if it goes up, you go up with it. But it also has a rider in there that will provide a guaranteed income, and they
I
will
like
provide a
that.
guaranteed income rate.
Hmm.
So that income rate is on the right side of the contract, and the growth is on the left side of the contract. So you get both in the same contract. You don't have to
So you
choose.
can actually get a guaranteed income, and at the same time, it's an asset that can also grow, that if the market is doing well, that asset will continue to grow, or at least it won't lose money.
Exactly. And then the great thing about the long-term care side is if you're in, this is not all contracts, but depending on what contract's being offered, if you have to enter a long-term care facility, let's say that the income is $50,000 that they're promising you at a certain age, and of course it goes up with age, they will double that while you're in that facility. So it
Wow.
goes from 50 to 100 when that time comes, and that's contractual.
And is there a time limit? I hear about things like I think it is Medicare. It's like it'll cover you for 90 days and then you're out of luck.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to cover you as long as you're in that long-term care facility.
Okay.
Some of them have a 5-year guarantee. They'll cover you for five
Oh,
years. Some are more,
okay.
depending on the contract. I think the average life expectancy in a facility is 3 to 5 years, something like that.
Okay.
Um, there's going to be people that are there for 10 years. But if
Sure.
but if they're going to give you double your income, that's a huge
Hmm.
deal. That along with maybe some real estate that we set aside on top of that. Maybe we
Yeah.
pay for the annuity with some of the money from the real estate. Maybe we
Mm,
pay for the real
mm.
estate with a loan from the life insurance policy.
So you're looking at how these different assets can work together so that
Yep.
people are getting the growth, they're getting the flexibility, and most importantly, they're getting the income that they need.
Yep.
I love this. I love this conversation. We are going to take a break in just a moment. And when we come back, let's dive further into this idea of guaranteed income. All right. We'll be back in a moment with Vivatude.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, 1 each week. We help you revivitude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.